Hello and welcome to this video on integrals. Here in this example, we are going to find the integral from 0 to 1 of the function ln of x. So let's get started. Now notice that our function that we have here, the function we're integrating, the integrand, is a function that has some issues at values of x that are negative or 0. So here we can say that the domain of this function is a set of numbers that are strictly positive. Because the function is not defined at negative numbers and at 0, we can say that this integral from 0 to 1 of ln of x dx is an improper integral, because one of the bounds for the integral, the lower bound in particular, the 0, is a point outside of the domain of the function. So then we can say that the integral from 0 to 1 is an improper integral. And as an improper integral, what we have is that the integral is defined in terms of a limit. We can always make sense of ln as long as we keep two arguments that are positive. Then this integral, the integral from 0 to 1 of ln of x dx, is defined as the limit as a goes to 0 from the right of the integral from a to 1 of the function. Okay. So this is what we can say. This is what we can start with. Okay. Now, to find the integral from a to 1 of ln of x dx, we use the fundamental theorem of calculus. The integral from a to 1 of ln of x dx is written in terms of ln. We have x times ln of x minus 1. That's an antiderivative of ln of x. And then we evaluate that antiderivative at the endpoints. So we have 1 times ln of 1 minus 1, and then minus a times ln of a minus 1. And after we do some algebra, what we get here is negative 1, ln of 1 is 0, and then minus a times ln of a, and then plus a. Okay. So what we're saying is that the integral from 0 to 1 of ln of x dx is the limit as a goes to 0 from the right of negative 1, negative a, ln of a plus a. And this limit actually gives us the negative 1, because a is really close to 0. This part is going to 0. Now this part a, ln of a, is a limit of the form 0 times negative infinity, because ln of something really small is very negative. But this is going to go to 0 by L'Hopital's rule, and then we have the negative 1. So what we can say is that the value of this integral is negative 1. Right, and if you have any questions, in particular questions about limits, I invite you to check some videos on limits. All right, that was it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.